So soon after we released CrabNebula Cloud, some of the earliest feedback we got is, hey, I'm already using the Towery GitHub action and distributing my app with GitHub releases. Why should I switch? Well, there's a number of trade-offs between GitHub releases and CrabNebula Cloud. For example, with CrabNebula Cloud, you get global distribution across a content delivery network. So you can serve your application to your users close to where they are, meaning they download updates faster. You also can serve them updates with a built-in update server automatically. So they open the app, they get a notification, hey, there's a new version, and they can update seamlessly. Update management is a solved problem with CrabNebula Cloud and the Towery Updater. Additionally, we give you metrics, we show you how many people download your applications, and we give you support for releasing multiple applications and or multiple variants of the same application. So you could do things like staging or canary builds alongside production builds. All of this power and more, including first-class integration with the Towery DevTools, comes with CrabNebula Cloud. Now, if you'd like to switch, we'd like to spend the time in this video showing you how you can do that. And to do that, we'll actually go with an open source Towery project that currently uses GitHub Actions and show you a migration path from there. The open source project in question is Git Butler. Git Butler is open source, so we can do this. Git Butler currently uses the Towery GitHub action to distribute applications via GitHub releases. If you haven't heard of Git Butler, it's a really great way of working with your Git branches, and it's sort of this assistant that helps you manage and work with your repo all the way between committing your code and getting it on GitHub. It can really assist you in many ways there. It's a very powerful app, and we actually love it, so feel free to check that out. But let's look at how they distribute this application. So if we come to the Git Butler open source repo, and if we go to GitHub and then workflows, there should be a publish.yaml. Now, this publish has a job called publish Towery, and this is more or less copied from the Towery GitHub action with a few extra steps for Git Butler. But fundamentally, what we're doing is we're building the application and then building the binary and then uploading it to S3 and finally tagging a release on GitHub. Now, this will have many different permutations for people using the Towery GitHub action and GitHub releases for distribution. And that's sort of the point. There's no blessed path. This varies from application to application. This is another thing that CrabNebula solves. It gives you a highly standardized way of reliably not just distributing your apps, but also its updates with minimal configuration and high opinions. So it's a solved problem for you, so you can actually focus on building your application while CrabNebula focuses on shipping it. Okay, so what would it take to move from that to CrabNebula Cloud? Let's look at a diff. But before we look at a diff, let's actually look at the finished workflow of deploying to CrabNebula Cloud. And I want you to pay attention to the fact that we're not wiring together a number of different things. We're not wiring together S3 and GitHub releases, etc. This is one streamlined, standardized workflow. Let's take a look. So if we come to a GitHub action, this is what we have. We draft a release, we build and upload assets for macOS, Linux, and Windows in parallel, and then we publish the release to CrabNebula Cloud. Okay, what does that look like on CrabNebula Cloud? Well, this is our application. It's called From GitHub Releases with a description, and we have some metadata, and we have releases. This is our first published release. In fact, this release came from this GitHub action. The moment it published here was the moment it appeared here. Okay, this is a public application, so we also get a full public page where you can read about the release and then download the binaries right here. And this is public. This is accessible to everybody. Okay, so all of this from a GitHub action. How does this action look, and how do we get this from the Towery GitHub action? Let's take a look at the code. So if we go to pull requests, we have one pull request open called move from GitHub releases to CrabNebula Cloud. This changes the GitHub action from the Towery action to the CrabNebula Cloud action. So for the same publish Towery job, we actually remove the job and we do the following. We draft a release, and we draft a release by checking out the repo, creating a draft release on CrabNebula Cloud with this command. That's it. That creates a draft release. Then we build and upload assets for each platform in this matrix. So macOS, Ubuntu, Windows. And the command we run there is just a regular old build command. This depends on your application, but typically it's cargo Towery build or some variant of that. Okay, we install some dependencies, we set some targets. Yeah, exactly. We npm run Towery build, and then finally we upload the build artifacts. This is per target, per platform. We upload each binary to CrabNebula Cloud. So this will be run 3 times for our 3 matrix targets. That's macOS, Ubuntu, and Windows. Okay. Finally, we publish. We publish the release to CrabNebula Cloud. Again, just using this action, we check out use this action, and that's it. And we can remove all of this complexity. We just say we publish, the framework is Towery, but you can use other frameworks, and that's it. All we need is an API key and an app ID, and we're good. Once we do that, once we push this, then this workflow, then if we go to actions, then this workflow is invoked. Let's actually look at this in practice. So let's go here. We have a pull request called update the app name. And what are we doing here? So we're changing the version number and we're changing something. So we're changing Towery app to my app. And we're doing this across the board. So we're just changing a bunch of data in the application. So let's merge this pull request and watch that action get kicked off. So we'll merge it. And now that it's merged, we can also delete the branch. Thank you, GitHub. And if we go to actions, we should see update the merge commit. So now what's happening is we're drafting a release. This will create a new draft release on CrabNebula Cloud. It's not going to be published. But once this is done, it's going to start building macOS, Ubuntu, and Windows binaries here on GitHub in parallel. This process takes about 5 minutes or so, so I'm not going to have you sit through that. We'll move on. But while these are building in parallel, we can already go to CrabNebula Cloud and we can see that 0.2.0 has in fact been created as a draft. We can see that it's a draft here. It's not published. As the binaries are built one by one, they will slowly start making their way into this. As you can see here, there's no assets uploaded, but one by one, they will be uploaded in here when they're ready, just like this. If we go to the previously published release, there's a number of binaries here. So this will happen automatically on GitHub. They will build, they will be uploaded, and then finally the draft will become published. What happens then is the public application page, instead of shipping 0.1.0, will automatically ship the published release, the latest one, which is 0.2.0. All of that is handled automatically. You can also configure the Towery updater here for updates. We're not going to do that in this video because it's beyond the scope. This video is about moving your GitHub workflow from the Towery action and GitHub releases to CrabNebula Cloud. If you want to use the Towery updater, it's just a matter of taking the new GitHub action and adding a few configuration parameters. We do also cover that in another video. We leave links in the description. But that's it. If we look at the effort required to move from the Towery GitHub action and GitHub releases to CrabNebula Cloud, here, this is, if we go look at the pull request, this one specifically, it's 51 additions and 12 removals. And with that, you get content delivery network, over-the-air updates, metrics, collaboration features, and so much more. We hope you enjoy this answer. We hope you see the value in CrabNebula Cloud, and we look forward to welcoming you there. One final note, the DevRel, Developer Relations team of CrabNebula, is able and ready to help you in this. If you want to schedule a call or do some pair programming, we're ready to support you in any way we can. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to see you on Cloud.